Greetings and good morning, Milwaukee. I'm Ebony Solly, and you are listening to Community Heartbeat, presented by Outreach Community Health Centers. Not just a show, this is a movement dedicated to bringing our community together through wellness, keeping your heart pumping with positivity. Happy New Year. Okay. Happy New Year. This is the first show back. So I hope that this new year finds you making goals, ready to crush these goals. Welcome to a new year. I know we got some goals in mind, 2025 to thrive, stay alive, all that good stuff. So I want to hear from you this morning. What are you planning to do into this new year? I know some of us don't do New Year's resolutions. But tell me what you're up to. 414-444-5250 is the telephone number to connect with us this morning. We got a new number. Okay, hold on. Gotta get that in the break. But welcome to another month, another year. Community Heartbeat. This year is packed, y'all. I've done my homework. I've listened to what you've shared about what you want to gather from the show. So I hope you wake up with me every other week on a Friday morning, and let's put these new goals, new year into play. Outreach Community Health Centers is right in the community and will be here each month, twice a month, the second and fourth Friday, connecting about health, wellness programming, talking about our upcoming events, featured health screenings, all of that. So make sure you tune in to hear our practitioners, our health experts, all of that goodness. Today, we will have our president and CEO in on the show to talk about where we're going as an organization in 2025. And then we have a guest from our family medicine residency program with MCW. So I'm excited to connect with both of those in the second hour. But let's get into it. New year, new goals. How do you incorporate balance and wellness into the new year? I'm interested to know, what do you want to start? What do you want to stop? Now, Ebony signed up for a weight loss program, y'all. Now, I'm not trying to do like super skinny. I'm trying to get strong again, right? It's the way those stairs have me fighting for my life, right? And it's just 2 flights of stairs. So I feel like I should not be in cardiac and respiratory disarray with 2 flights of stairs. But I'm always like, ooh, don't open the door yet. Just wait. 2 flights. New facility. I got my bags, my purse. I'm blaming it on my bags and the things I'm carrying. But y'all,
Ebony, come on now.
Fighting for my life.
Really?
Okay. I'm sure the security team is like, bless her, Lord. Okay. Because and I'm like, gather yourself and then walk in. So I'm trying to get stronger. So I started this weight loss program, 26 weeks. And it's everything. It's food scale, it's relationship with food, it's all of that. Now, I wouldn't say that I eat crazy. Again, I love a good burger, I love a good steak, but I'm not eating that every day. But the fresh fruits, the fresh vegetables, I'm trying to put all of that into play. So I have been cooking at home, and I am that girl on the stove. Okay. So part of it, I think, of us eating healthy and eating well is we don't want to give up the stuff that tastes amazing.
Right? Yeah, that's it.
Right. Because tofu, I'm just not. Okay. I'm not crossing the bridge. Shout out to those who love tofu, but that is not my ministry. Right. Not my ministry. So I made some smashed broccoli, right? So you make the broccoli, smash it on the baking pan, put a little cheese, little bacon, little chili flakes, fire.
You made what? What with the chili flakes?
It's called smashed broccoli, right? So you cut your broccoli down into little like nuggets almost. Boil them.
Right.
Then once they're cooked, take them and smash them down, put your toppings on and bake that.
So is that almost like a broccoli burger?
You could. Now you can make a cauliflower burger, which is much, much better. So it's like you put all your seasonings. Let me be real clear. You season that bad boy up like it's a piece of meat, right?
Yeah, because broccoli really has no
It has
flavor.
no flavor, so it's gonna absorb. So listen, it was delicious. So I'm trying to make those little changes.
But now, how healthy is it?
With the cheese.
Well, listen, I didn't take it to the full of cheese because that's probably my vice, right? I make my homemade mac and cheese. It's got like 17 cheeses in there. 17. I make a scallop potatoes. Got mine, right? So I'm just trying to lighten those things up and still make it taste good. So yeah, at home meals, fresh fruits and vegetables. That's what I'm trying. So y'all just keep tabs on me.
Are you going into organics?
Nah. You know what organic really means, right? They just use a little bit more.
Enlighten us.
A little bit more fertilizer.
A little more manure. a little more manure.
Make it a little more fresh. I'm good. It's a little more fresh. So I'm okay with not being 100% organic. But I do try to pull out all of those chemicals and stuff. It's not good for you. So yeah, like favorite meal though. What's your favorite meal? Whew. All of it.
No, Lord Jesus. I got some favorites.
My favorite meal, and this is hard for me to say. It's hard, and it's not good for me.
Okay.
Mac cheese, yams, Lord have mercy. Potato salad.
Yes, Lord. Let him use.
Oh my. Hey, you see? I just closed my eyes and
I saw you got deep.
Oh Lord.
What's your meat? What meat?
Ribs.
Yes, Lord.
Ribs. Yes, Lord. Barbecue chicken. I mean, I'm just a barbecue guy.
I had the hankering for some dressing, and I laid in bed and I was like, this is real like big bag behavior. You're laying in the bed. You're like, I should make a dressing just right now. Just do I have the ingredients? Do I have some celery in there? Do I have some? But as long as you're making it at home and it's not full of the junk.
Yeah, but if I make it at home, since it's just me,
you eating the
pan.
The
whole pan. I'm eating everything. The pan is mine.
Gotta scrape it from around.
Why can't you make like small portions to where you're not overdoing it for yourself?
Because brother, I'm not a small brother. You understand me?
You're not a small portion brother.
I'm not a small. I need it all: bread, socks, and jaw.
Ebony, we go out to lunch sometimes. We went to this place over in Oak Creek.
No, Cudahy.
Yeah. We went over in Cudahy, so I get a half a slab. He got to get a whole slab.
I'm a big brother.
If the cow is already there, right, it's gonna go to way. Or was it pork rib? I don't know. Beef.
Yeah, it was pork. It was pork.
The meat is already there.
Yeah. So I figured, since it was already cooked and ready, it was cooked for me.
Right. It's for the people. Right?
And I am the people.
Walk into your blessing. Amen. Walk into your blessing. But I mean, in our relationship with food, I think has to come back to it's nourishment. But for us, it's a social moment. Yeah. It's a time to like share those traditions and do all that. So Ebony's going to eat.
Amen.
She's going to try not to eat as much, but she will. So on that token, Outreach Community Health Centers has a dietitian and nutritionist. And y'all know how sometimes we look at food and we get into the new year and we're like recipes and we're like raisins don't go in the potato salad. Raisins do not go in the mac and cheese. So sometimes the recipes I look at like, but every time this person hits it out of the park. I mean, she did like a broccoli stir fry salad something. And I'm like, I don't know how this is going to taste. And it was slamming. So if you are somebody that has been battling hypertension, you've been battling diabetes, go to our website, check out our services in the nutrition lane. So the food is the first piece because you cannot outrun a bad diet. That's what people say, right? You would have to be on a treadmill for like 17 hours if you're going to burn off the cheeseburger. So it's better just to put the right stuff in. The other thing is working out. How we feel about working out.
Oh, and this is the thing. So I don't eat crazy like that all the time because I go work out every day.
Okay.
But I do have my big back moment.
As
like
we all
like when I was
do.
in Cudahy, I wanted it all, brand new socks and drawers.
Matter of fact, bring me 2 slabs.
Hey man,
Matter of fact, bring me a second one.
and it was so
One to
good it
take
make you
home.
want to slap your mama.
See, I'm saying, look, if my mama listening, no, it don't. No, it don't. It ain't, look, it ain't never that good.
Oh, that kid was good, boy, man.
Yeah.
Smack your mama.
Woo, and she'll say, "Woo, amen." You ready?
Hey,
Brace
right.
yourself,
Lord, receive her with open arms, because I'm about to send her.
she would just give a look like, "Wow,
What-
you
what
are
did,
really about to die."
What did
today."
Ozzie Davis say when he was getting ready to do that thing in whatever that movie was with Samuel Jackson? Hey, Father,
Yeah.
I stretch my hands to thee. No other help I know.
Amen.
Because yeah,
I'm about to send her.
that even the thought that you thought,
Yeah.
you gonna have to pay
There you go.
because you thought about it. So I'm trying to do yoga. Let me not say I'm trying to do because I know that's my brothers and sisters out there. We all trying, right? But you got to get up and do it. So yoga, and just walking. Right, I'll wait to start lifting the heavy weights this summer because I don't want to get too swole, and then you just look at me and know I'm not the one you want to pick on. Right, I don't want to get that swole, but a little muscle definition is good. So again, talk back to me this morning. Tell me about what your plans are to stay healthy, to stay well throughout this season. I'm in my new year, new me still. My resolutions to lose weight, right? But also to be on time, to up my
What?
professional
Wait a
game.
minute. She tried to
Up
slide
my
that one by you,
professional
man.
game.
Yeah,
No,
I've seen
up
it.
Tried to slide that one in. Yeah.
Slide it in.
up my professional game, right? I think sometimes we get really comfortable in doing our work. It comes really easy to us. Like I caught myself this past week. I was like, oh, I could do that in my sleep. I'm like, that's probably not the sentiment you want to do. You want to keep leveling up. So I'm committed to the entire level up this year. And I hope that you are too. I think our city needs it.
Mm-hmm.
I think our country needs it, especially with everything that's going on. Somebody commented, we freezing on one side and burning on the other side,
Yeah.
right? We need civil engineers. We need engineers, period. Electrical, the whole shebang. We need more professionals in the world focusing on these issues. Water scientists, climate scientists. We need it. We need the physicians. We need it, y'all, because these next couple years, wild. So I will pause to say prayers up to everybody that's affected, and may have friends, families, others that are affected by these wildfires. I was in Pasadena 2 years ago for a Culture Con festival. Beautiful space. There was a restaurant that is 70 floors high,
Hmm?
right? 70 floors high. And when you are in the building and you're looking at the sunset, it looks like the sun is going under the world. Beautiful scenery. So when I'm in this building, my first thought was, dear God, are they due for an earthquake? I feel like they're due for an earthquake, right? And I look over at the elevator as you're going up, and I see there's an earthquake button in the elevator. So if this thing goes down, like they're prepared for that. For me, that meant there's an engineer that's paying attention to that. When they built the building, they're thinking about this. So then you start looking at like the wildfires. We know these things are going to happen there because of how they're building these homes, right? So what kind of fireproofing materials, what kind of building plans can we come up with to negate that? The same in the Midwest. We get tornadoes here, we get flooding here. We need engineers to be thinking about this kind of stuff, right? So that we can all be safe and healthy. The other piece I thought about though is I'm sending my prayers up, checking on my people, um, is how these things are being reacted to by government, right? My first reaction was the same concept applied with Katrina, right? I'm listening to people say we lost everything. Yeah, that was pretty much the same with every hurricane that is hit. People are losing everything. So, how do you restore from that? How do you get better with that? we have to start taking care of each other and using our brain power, right? So it's all, for me, it's all connected. How we eat, how we move, how we think, um, putting our heads together for some of these big, big, big problems. So again, prayers up to everybody that might have been affected. It will take a long time to rebuild from that. With that being said, how are you preparing in Milwaukee? I'm interested to find out how you. Okay, that's our urban environment. I love it. Um, we got our lifesavers going to hopefully save someone's life or resuscitate or do what they need to do. So kudos first responders for keeping us safe that way. Um, but going back to what are we doing here? So we get the tornadoes, we get the floods. How are y'all feeling about not having any snow? Now I'm concerned because we're in the Midwest, right? And we have the boots and the coats and we're almost into February, right?
Yeah.
No big snow.
You know what? I think it's been like that for a couple of years. Like the first couple months of the winter, we don't get the snow, but like February and
It's
March, we get
cold.
slammed. Yeah,
Cold.
it's cold. But in reality, um, I don't feel bad because they can keep the snow. Lord, I love you, but keep the snow.
I mean, I feel like yes, but also we're supposed to have snow.
Why?
But isn't
Dallas
it
is not.
amazing that those southern countries, not countries,
Man.
but the southern states
Yeah.
are getting slammed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
now, what really tripped me out is how it seems like everything is reversing itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know that it's that the tides are turning.
Yeah.
It's when the winter like this, it kind of scares me because that lets me know that our spring and summer is going to be crazy. Yeah,
Crazy. I said the same place. We live in the same place that you can freeze.
Yeah.
Or you could have heat stroke, like
At
the same
time.
living in the same place.
But I will say, when I moved to California, it was one of the things that made me want to come home.
Was the cold?
No,
was not having
the different climates, if you will, all the seasons.
Got you. Okay.
I miss winter. I mean, Christmas wasn't Christmas without snow. Growing up in Wisconsin, you were acclimated to that.
You better throw some of that.
Here, man. Listen, I was living in North Carolina. And when I tell you Christmas was Christmas for me, it was 75 degrees.
Lord,
we was in traffic.
Lord,
we was kicking it. New Year's Eve, it was 80 degrees. I loved it.
And ironically, I used to take the Bay Bridge all the time.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
So I left maybe a year, and then the big earthquake came. So once I was a part of the one earthquake, I was really ready to go.
Right. That's all.
But then when the big one came and the top layer of the Bay Bridge fell out on the bottom layer, oh yeah, I was out of there already.
Like, Lord.
But I knew it was coming. And then, there was always that they would say that imminent threat to that the big one is going to come and California going to be out in the water somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, we're due for it. We are due for it, and that's just like the earth doing what the earth does, right? So that's not climate change. That's just the earth is going to do what it's going to do, right? And everybody, we'll move to a different planet. Okay, listen, we can't even filter water in the city. Calm down. We like the sentiment, but let's get it right on this planet first. So those are some topics, some conversations that we are going to have for the duration of 2025. So I hope you stay a while, you kick it, you contribute to the conversation, and contribute to the conversation, but also contribute to our city. And again, for me, it all comes back to health. So when we come back, we will talk about all the good things, what outreach is doing in the next couple weeks, prepping for cold weather. We got to make sure we're paying attention to those that don't have it, to make sure they stay healthy and well. You are listening to Community Heartbeat, presented by Outreach Community Health Centers. I'm Ebony Siley. We will be right back.
Are you struggling with child support issues? We are here to help. Whether you're dealing with order modifications, arrears repayment, or need help with your case, we are just a call away. Connect with Milwaukee County Child Support Services at 414-340-0247. Our team is ready to provide you with resources to modify your order, clear old warrants,
The passing of a loved one is emotional enough without adding the stress of funeral arrangements. By pre-planning, you receive the desires of your heart while taking away the burden from your family. It also saves you money, providing the dignity and respect your memory deserves. And there are times when life ends unexpectedly. Please know that the New Pitts Mortuary is here to lend a helping, caring hand anytime, day or night. We are the New Pitts.
Welcome back, Milwaukee. Community Heartbeat presented by Outreach Community Center, Health Center. It's not just a show, it's a movement. Listen, I hope that you are following us on all of our social media channels. And since it's New Year, New Us, we got a new Instagram page. So go on and follow Community Heartbeat Radio Show, Instagram at Community Heartbeat Radio Show. While you're there, go ahead and follow Outreach Community Health Center's Insta page. Follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all of that. So if you're watching by YouTube this morning, good morning. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Happy New Year. Welcome on back. Outreach Community Health Centers. Let me just give you a little bit about us. If you haven't been listening in for 2024, welcome to the show. Outreach Community Health Centers has a primary care clinic that provides outpatient medical care for the entire family. We've been at it for over 41 years, and our programs have grown to provide a continuum of services that respond to the whole life needs of patients and clients. We've got 5 locations throughout Milwaukee in several schools. We operate at St. Ben's, Salvation Army, and then our clinic. We've got primary care services. That's adult chronic disease management. So that's your diabetes, your hypertension, all of those pieces that can be controlled. We got all of your vaccinations, dental care, prenatal care, child care coordination. We got lab services, in-house pharmacy, OB, podiatry. I was going to say pediatrics, which we do too. We've got a telehealth piece, do well child visits. So basically everything. Our sweet spot, if you will, the thing we do very, very well is that the cost is not an issue at Outreach. So we really look at pulling out those things that may drive prices up to still provide high quality health care. So there's a sliding fee. So if you come in and you know where you fall on the income scale, we'll make sure that we get you some services to cover those things. When the weather gets cold, though, I always turn to a portion of services that we offer that keep people out of the cold. So a lot of times we forget that we get to go home. We get to go home to a warm home most times. We get to go home to a warm home with a bed that has water, that has food for us to eat. And that really is a blessing. But we also have to make sure that we're taking care of those that don't have that. So those who are unhoused, those who have skipped medical care for reasons, years and years without those, we fill that gap, right? So for me, it's a mission driven thing. And of course, in 2025, one of the components of my personal and professional life is do things that push you personally and professionally towards the mission, which is taking care of each other. So the other day I was walking to the car, I was a little frustrated. I'm like, my hands are freezing. Ooh, got convicted right there in the parking lot. Like, babe, some people are sitting outside, sleeping outside the whole night in this. So it's more than just a quick jump from your car to the house or house to work, or that people are outside. And so for those folks, we fill that gap. Now, if you're listening in and you say, all right, I want to help. I want to help, but I don't have the time to volunteer. I want to help, but I don't have a lot of extra resources. You can go to our website, ochc-milw.org, and you can go to the donate tab, and you can send materials to someone in need, which I think is just a phenomenal component of the work that we do. So if it's on your heart this morning, ochc-milw.org, bless somebody, right? If you've got it, bless somebody. That's how we're all going to make it through. So I'm not saying I'm counting where you're putting your efforts, but yes, we want to donate to people throughout the country that may need it. You got folks in your backyard that may need it. So it looks like we have a caller this morning. Good morning and welcome to Community Heartbeat.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you today?
Well, let me tell you, blessed, joyful, grateful in the Lord. Welcome to the new year.
Was that a bike horn?
It is, but you know what? I gave so many bikes away, I decided to keep one.
Oh, are you riding the bike right now?
No, I gave, Devo got on me a couple of days ago. I done gave so many bikes away, but I told him I'm going to blow his horn. I'm going to take his horn. But I kept one just for this particular reason, so I could do stuff like this.
Well, good morning to you and your bike horn.
Thank you. Because if I had a train one, see, that would the neighborhood would be. So this is the best I can do without ruffling the feathers of the neighbors.
Right, and we appreciate that.
But anyway, welcome to the new year. I'm glad to be in the presence with you today, this morning, Mr. Rideout, Mr. Carvey. Good morning, young men. Good morning, Milwaukee. Tyrone W. speaking. A couple different things. The old thermometers with the mercury in it. If you break that bottom part of the thermometer and that mercury spills out,
yeah,
the thermometer won't work.
Yeah.
Now let me tell you something. The oil in the center of the earth, just like you got the molten, the stuff that comes out the volcano, the volcanic ash and stuff, the malt.
Yeah, molten lava. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all that stuff is at the center of the earth there, along with some of the oil may mix in with that to keep that going down there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you notice, when that stuff comes out there, it hardens up as a volcanic ash, a very hard rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you mess around with the oil too much there, just like the thermometer, you will throw the earth off center, off kilt.
Mm.
And you messed around, Arafat and all them, and all these people with oil and stuff. You done messed around with the oil too much to where, yeah, the earth will, balance itself because, it's just like a thermometer. If you mess around with that mercury, the thermometer won't work. The earth has got to balance itself there in order to keep everything in balance across the whole scale with the water and the land. That's
Agreed.
Why you see different things. I'm not saying that so much for the fires, but just in general because tsunamis, and you see the way that earth plates move under the water and stuff like that. Uh, all that comes into with um, the balance of everything. Islands start from underwater volcanoes.
Right.
So that all that you can't misuse the resources.
You can't. You can't.
The air that we breathe and stuff here. You can't go from winter formula to summer formula, and then wonder why you're choking and gagging and stuff because all this stuff that they putting in these different things and stuff here. Now the food is messed up and everything. Plastic is and everything. The plastic is all in the fish and everything. You can't even take a bite out your sandwich there without choking on some damn plastic or some kind.
I'm like, that's a real thing. That's
or another,
It's a real
So,
thing.
but
Yeah.
but not only that, and I'm gonna get out of here in a couple of minutes here. But I know you wanted to talk about health and everything. That's good. That's wonderful. But yeah, I just wanted to start the new year out with you because I ain't talked with you,
And
since
that
last year.
actually, you bring up a phenomenal point.
But
So
I'm gonna listen to you over the year like I always do. But I just wanted to, Eli, just like the fella that he wanted to take, he got buried in his Cadillac sitting down. I bet if they dig him up right now, his skeleton is still sitting there at the steering wheel, and he still ain't went nowhere.
I tell you,
You ain't taking none of it with you. You understand? Elon Musk and all these other people, the 1% is 1% has the money of 50% of the bottom half. You're not taking it with you. You're not even gonna be able to spend it all.
But
That's just plain greed there. So the earth will balance itself, even if these people. I don't care if you Trump or whoever. The bottom is gonna fall out. But don't get scared,
right.
though. The Lord has the upper hand. But stay prayed up, stay in the spirit of things. But yeah, he's coming back to reclaim his stuff there, and he's got it set to where no, you're not gonna run roughshod over what my Father has created.
I hear. Listen, you hit so many things. You hit so many, and I'm gonna address them all. Cause
I love you. When we get a chance to meet, we're gonna do pizza and chicken. Okay.
Love you back. Look,
right,
it's got to be that
good
vegetarian though. You heard me try to get. I'm getting told this year. So you brought up some phenomenal points. When I'm out and about and I'm traveling, I tend to go to museums and exhibitions that are wherever I'm traveling. So I was in Chicago last June, and I went to an exhibition that was held at the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. They had an exhibit called The Blue Paradox. The Blue Paradox was sponsored by, ironically, SC Johnson Wax or SC Johnson. You know them; they do all the household products, so the cleaning, the materials you use to keep a quality home. They make those goods. So they did an exhibition called The Blue Paradox. And throughout, it's just got all these facts about plastic, these facts about how we utilize plastic. And the facts that they put in this exhibit, my mouth dropped. Do you hear me? It said something like every person on the planet right now has microplastic in their body. Right? So when we look at these things and how they're manifesting in our bodies, most of the fish on the earth have plastic in their belly. So even when we try to like retune our diets to be more healthy, we're eating the salmon, not salmon. We're eating the tilapia. We're eating the shrimp. We're eating the tuna. All of those things have plastics in them. And look, you can argue about a lot of things in life, but some things are factual. So, cause and effect, we have more fish with plastic in their bellies. We then eat that. Where does that plastic go? It's been manufactured so that it doesn't break down. So, one of the negatives is that these things do not break down. So, they stay in the body 50, 60, 70, 100 years. The things that are that are in the sea, they don't break down. So those we ingest, they're in our bodies, and we're kind of stuck with them for the long term. So that's a thing. Blue paradox. Google that on Google it. See the exhibit. You can see pictures. I've got it pulled up here. You can see the facts. So I want you to go and look at that. It was one of those that has always stuck with me. But yes, you brought up the issue of plastic. The other thing is that natural resource. So when we look at things like oil production and fracking, those things have implications on the human body. And as the kids say, no diss, we're not saying that we don't need oil, right? It's not an either or in this instance, but we do have to acknowledge these things are making us sick. So if they are pulling up oil from the land that you are around, those chemicals will get into your water. That's scientific fact. It's not a policy decision. Those things are fact. Now, the policy decisions come into play with how we keep ourselves healthy, how often we're checking in and making sure our bodies are doing what they're supposed to do. So it's a wild ride. Gasland is another documentary. Again, I told y'all I'm y'all your nerd homegirl, little sister, big sister, depending on age. I love that kind of stuff. So Gasland is a documentary that I think you would be beneficial in checking out. As we get back to that, like the environment, where we are, how we're keeping our kids safe. One of the stories that I was following this week are how the gun deaths in our city are rising among children. So I went to do some homework, as I promised you all I would. Accidental gun deaths account for about 5% of gun deaths among children in the US. Over time, children ages 1 to 4 are more likely to be victims. And nationwide, those toddlers are more often than not Black children. So I started thinking about, we're trying to protect ourselves by what we eat and making sure that that's healthy. We try to protect ourselves, making sure that we're keeping our bodies fit. We're paying attention to the creams and the lotions that we're putting on. But sometimes the thing that we put out for our protection and our safety can injure somebody else. So, shameless plug. Outreach Community Health Centers has a vending machine with free. Is this thing on? Free 99, no cost, gun locks. If you are going to have a weapon in your home, have a gun lock so that you are protecting the people that you're supposed to be protecting. That's an easy and a preventable issue. One thing I will say growing up, my family was very open to mistakes being made. We want you to make mistakes while you're a kid, make mistakes while you're young, make mistakes while you're in the house, make mistakes while you are under our insurance coverage, right? Don't make some of those mistakes outside. So I'm imploring you, Milwaukee, that's the easy thing that you don't have to face the tragedy of losing a child in your family. Get a gun lock free. 220 West Capitol Drive in Milwaukee. Walk in the sliding doors. Go to the vending machine. Get the gun lock. Walk back to your car. Go home and keep your family safe. Okay. That is what I'm requiring of you if you want to have a weapon in your home. So I've broken out this next segment is kind of what we need to be doing early in life, what we need to be doing right now, and what we need to be doing later. So we talked about the preventable gun safety piece. The other part is substance use, right? Now, I went back and did a little bit of study because I started with a very basic question. Does drug use go up when the economy goes down? Right? That seemed like a relationship that I thought needed to be studied. When life gets harder, do people use drugs more? And so I found there was a relationship between drug use and the economy. And so,
What about
again,
alcohol?
evidence and alcohol. Yep, alcohol and drugs. So people utilize them to cope, right? What I have found in my study is that let me just read what I've got here. So I'm not giving you craziness, right? As the economy declines, money tightens, credit tightens, you get higher rates of depression and suicidal ideation. With that being said, we know where we're about to go, right? Preventable, right? I talked about the preventable piece. We know where we're about to go. We know the economic conditions of Milwaukee, which means if we're putting this math together on paper, we're going to see drug use increase here in the city. With that being said, let's get out ahead of it. So, Outreach Community Health Centers received a grant called Contingency Management. And that's real fancy words to say. People are going to abuse substances. People are going to use substances. And that could be methamphetamine, that could be cocaine. Y'all have never said cocaine so much than when I'm working in this program, right? It's one of those things for me where it's like, well, that's not in my direct vision, so I can toss it aside. But the reality is, people in Milwaukee are using cocaine. Can we just say that? Okay. That's fact, scientific fact. What we want to do is prevent the preventable. So just like I'm telling you to go in and get the gun lock, I want you, if you know drug use is in your family, drug use is in your home, be safe about it. So the first and foremost thing, fentanyl. Fentanyl is in the drugs, y'all. Okay. And I don't want this to be an issue about, well, I don't use that kind of drug. I've shared on this show, I love my wine, right? Wine is alcohol, is a mind altering, right? Alcohol is a drug, right? So I say that to say, if somebody were spiking my wine, I would be in uproar. I would be in panic. I would be like, I don't know if this glass of wine is safe, right? So being able to test what you're using is preventable. So we have fentanyl test strips at Outreach for free 99. Is this thing on? Free. Free. No questions asked. You come into the vending machine, you take what you need, and be safe. As the new year, people celebrate, people are doing their thing, they're partying. Please be safe. Come into Outreach 220 North, or excuse me, West Capitol. Check out the vending machine, get what you need. The other piece is the Narcan. So you're taking the drugs. I went down the rabbit hole over the holiday season just at drug use throughout the country. And there are higher incidents of drug use, being unhoused, and then it's cold. You're getting people that are overdosing. And so that overdose could look like a person sleeping on a bus stop. That overdose could look like someone asleep in their car. And you might be pressed into action to save a life. Narcan is what you want to utilize in those instances. So come on by. You don't have to listen. Again, I always say you don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to register. You don't have to see the folks. So come in your pajamas, do what you need to do. Go to the vending machine, get the materials you need so that you can be safe. Prevent the preventable. The other piece is listen. Boom, 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 boom. We got YouTube if you're watching again, YouTube, or Facebook. Hey, Facebook. This is what the box looks like. It's a nasal component. So you pop open the box, pss, 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 you spray the person that is having an overdose, and you could save a life. Free, right? Again, walk in, grab it, and you could be a part of keeping this community safe and healthy. So shout out to having that. Gun locks, Narcan, fentanyl testing strips, all free. Come by and see us. Starting off, the healthy person. Now I went back to in Right Out. We were talking about that high school life late last year, and I loved gym class and staying healthy. But part of like being healthy and well, when you think about it, is drilled into you as a kid, right? So the fruits and vegetables a day. The fact that you know that, they shared that as a kid. When you have how much you should exercise, started off as a kid. So what Outreach has done is we've moved into 2 schools and excited about some things on the way to teach these kids how to take care of themselves, but to be there when they're not necessarily doing that, or they get injured or need some additional care. So Carmen Schools is one of the schools that we're in. What is that? Silver Spring?
Silver Spring.
I'm a visual, so I'm like, it's right around the corner by the thing. Silver Spring. So you have a neighborhood of, I mean, it's middle class, right? Folks are going to work every day. They're coming home. They're doing what they have to do. They're raising their kids. It's middle class. With that being said, sometimes we get caught in the I've got to finish this, and it's not a priority. Working out today is not a priority. Eating well is not a priority. We know that over time those things build up, and we are in emergency rooms, we're in urgent care. So I'm pushing all of you to go get the preventative care. If you have a kid that's at Carmen, go over and see the outreach clinic. Sign up, do the paperwork. For issues that we need to see them in the clinic, we do that. But there's too much at stake. That's what I'm going to say. And I'm not going to get choked up. But our babies got to be healthier. It starts now, and that's what pushes them to being healthy in adulthood. So if you have a kid at Carmen, tell them to go on in and get connected to that care at their school. Again, the care is not expensive when you come to outreach. So get connected. This is your year. This is your year. You can't do it without being safe. Then connecting for later, right? So I talked about the connecting early, connecting now. Get your annual physical on the calendar. Do it right now. Do it right now. So during this break, I want you to go get a notebook. I want you to go get a pen. I want you to break out your little tablet or that little napkin envelope that's at the kitchen table. Bring that on over. And when we come back, we're going to talk about which health checks that you need to be getting, when you need to be getting them, and how easy they are to schedule at Outreach Community Health Centers. You are listening to Community Heartbeat, presented by Outreach Community Health Centers. Not just a show, this is a movement dedicated to bringing our community together through wellness. I'm Ebony Sally. We will be right back. Heartbeat, presented by Outreach Community Health Centers. Not just a show, this is a movement. I am Ebony Solly, and good morning, Milwaukee, as we enter into the second hour of Community Heartbeat. I am super excited to share our first guest today. So if you are listening on Facebook, you know what? Before I do that, I said I was going to make sure that I was logged into Facebook this time because y'all be giving shouts out. And I feel bad that I don't get those till I get back home. Right. So during the break, let me try to get where we are on Facebook so I can follow along and give you shouts out. But as I said, I'm Ebony Solly, and I am super excited today because in the studio, I have one of our amazing family medicine residents. Before I read her bio, let me just tell y'all a little story because she is that doctor. Okay, we are at a health fair and we're working hard. We're meeting the people. We were doing screenings for glucose. Checking for diabetes, high sugar, blood sugar. And she's a soft spoken gal. She said, "Pardon me, I'm just going to go over here. And does anybody have a computer? I have a patient that is having cardiac difficulties." I'm like a heart attack. Right. I'm the person you got to kind of slap to bring back to consciousness in a crisis. She's like, "Yeah, so I'm just going to do this and this and that. And then we're just going to save his life." I'm like, wait a minute, in the middle of the health fair? So listen, she is that doctor. I would love to introduce to you, Milwaukee, Dr. Sushania Price, family medicine resident with MCW and Outreach. She is a graduate of the University of the West Indies in Jamaica, where she went to medical school. She's a second-year resident at the Northside Milwaukee Health Center's family medicine residency program. And she is one of the chief residents, and I'm going to add in lifesaver. She is passionate about women's health and public health and hopes to one day nurture the next generation of budding family medicine physicians. Welcome to the show, Dr. Price.
Thank you for having me, Ebony.
Absolutely. So tell me just a little bit, I've read your bio, but how did you discover your passion for medicine?
That's a question that I get asked a lot
Mm-hmm.
as a resident. And I think the answer is almost always the same. I think I first got introduced to medicine through my family medicine doctor growing up.
Okay.
And I always tell people this, like, for me, that was the only type of doctor that I knew growing up.
Okay.
I didn't know about all the other specialties, unfortunately. So when I went to medical school in Jamaica, I went there with that purpose of becoming a family medicine physician because that's the only type of doctor that I knew. And then I learned early on that I was just taking all the different aspects of all the different specialties into creating, this well-rounded family doc that I intended to become. So I think, my passion has been largely driven by my own family doc, seeing how he took care of my family growing up and how he gave back to his community. That's something that inspired me, and that's what drove me to become a family physician.
So that means that there's a family that you're treating right now that they've got a baby girl there, and every time she sees you, she's like, "Okay, that's a doctor." You realize that's how that cycle goes.
Yes,
right?
I realize that. No.
I love that. When we talk medicine and we talk about being healthy, one of the things I found with having physicians with so much different culture, right? The one thing that you all have in common is the passion for medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So are there some things that you look at from your hometown and then some things you look at Milwaukee that you go, those are really the same things?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Medicine is not that different wherever in the world you are practicing. And that's something that I've, had the opportunity to discover myself. I think one of the first things that I noticed when I got to Milwaukee, comparing it to Jamaica, is, the population of sickle cell patients that exists here. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised because, Milwaukee has a very diverse population, including Black African Americans. So I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was. And I was like, wow, this is just like back home. Yeah. And it's interesting because literally the treatment is the same. Yeah. And not only is the treatment the same, but these patients also face the same barriers to care. And largely it's just, unfortunately, it has to do with a lot of like institutional racism where, people think that Black people have a higher tolerance to pain. And when someone presents in pain, that we know it's overlooked. So that's something that I can definitely say is very similar. And, patients have the same needs wherever you go and wherever you are. And everyone is affected by the same issues, whether it be chronic diseases like diabetes or hypertension, or other more like population specific diseases like sickle cell.
Yeah. No, and that's why I think having that cultural competence is so important, because sometimes we look at medical conditions just in one way when we really should be looking at it at broad strokes. So you mentioned the sickle cell piece. I know that we may be hosting a blood drive here in the next couple of weeks, but sickle cell patients get a lot of blood transfusions, right? Just give us for some of us that don't have our notes in front of us, what is sickle cell and why does it affect the African American community differently?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So sickle cell disease is a blood disease in like the simplest terms. It usually affects our red blood cells. Those are the cells in our body that, are responsible for carrying oxygen and making sure that all our organs are oxygenated. And this disease came about because of, actually it's kind of like almost like a mutation, basically, where malaria, that's the number one reason where that was prevalent in the African continent. And the body kind of like be like, hey, this organism, I'm just going to use that word for now, it lives in these red blood cells. So how can we like fight it off, right? So the body decides, hey, let's change the shape of our red blood cells. The red blood cells are usually like, they're not truly round, but for just for simplicity, they're kind of round. But then they turn into this kind of sickle shape,
like a moon,
moon. Almost like a crescent moon. Yeah, exactly. So they turn into these crescent shape, and they realize that the organism malaria can't survive in the red blood cells when they turn into the shape. So that's kind of how it came about. And it's just one of those ways where the body decides, this is how we're going to fight back. And that's how sickle cell came about. So it's one of the reasons why you also mainly almost always see sickle cell in African American persons.
Yeah. And that to me was really surprising. I did some homework. I've worked with Versity on some of their initiatives in previous years. And then I'm a regular blood donor. So I make sure that as soon as I'm able to donate, I found out some years back that I have the RH protein. So when I give blood, that actually does go directly to people that are battling sickle cell. So that's when I went down the rabbit hole. Like, let me go and discover what this is. And so it's interesting that sickle cell was the body's way of fighting disease in this place, but now it causes so much pain in its symptoms. So that's again what I love about having that global view is it's not just, y'all get over it, you're not in pain, shake it off. And one of my dear friends who lived a very full life, I do know that there's a shortened lifespan when you do have sickle cell, and so just passed recently, but it's important. And so when you have people in your circle that are like, I can't get up and go, I just feel so lethargic, go in and see that primary care physician, get those tests, get those screenings, because you could be trying to battle through and actually have sickle cell, right?
Yeah. And one of the things that I love that we do here, we also do this back home too, which is why I was happy that, it's done here, is that we screen all pregnant women for sickle cell. So, we want to catch that very early.
Now, give me just the real quick, because, I was in biology class, but that might have been that chapter that I looked at and went, what? Okay, tell me how the mother is really important in screening mom for sickle cell. Why is that important to baby?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So one of the reasons why we do the screening is because if mom has it, and then she has what we would call she would either have sickle cell trait, meaning she doesn't have the disease itself, or she can have sickle cell disease itself. So usually by the time mom gets to us, she would have known if she had sickle cell, right? So really and truly, we're screening for the trait at this point. And what we're trying to see, if mom has it, then it will prompt us to screen the father. Because how sickle cell works is that you need both parents to have the trait, and then they can pass it on to the child. And it's usually 1 in 4, meaning, you have like a 25% chance, but still you don't know which child that would be. So that's why screening is so important.
So don't overlook it. If you are, and I would even go as far as to say, if you are planning to be pregnant in the next couple of months, Valentine's Day is coming. I'm just going to throw that out there. Go in and get those screenings now, so you know what you're dealing with and you know what those outcomes could be. So again, I know we get busy. I know life starts to happen, but those screenings are critical because they're affecting our children and our grandchildren. And if you are 2 parents with trait and y'all have 4 children, do the math, right? Do the math. So thank you for sharing that. Yes. As we get into the next hour, let me ask you this. What is one surprising thing that when you got to Milwaukee, and let me also just apologize for the cold. Okay, I will take that on personally. I'm sorry. Hopefully our summers make up for that. But this cold and negative wind chill, I apologize. So Milwaukee, we got to do better. What's one surprising thing that you've noticed since being here?
Yeah, I feel like that question would have to be just the people. Like when I got here, like I mentioned before, I was like surprised at how diverse Milwaukee.
There are Black people in Milwaukee.
It's not just Black people, but like they're Jamaicans, and there are like so many Jamaican restaurants that I found too. And I was like, wow, this is a pleasant surprise. So I just love the cultural diversity of Milwaukee. And I love that, I get to meet persons from all over, especially just within my residency program. We're so diverse. So I think that was a really nice surprise.
I tell you, listen, I love these residents. They are just it. They are on point. Their passion for medicine really is unmatched. They're always looking for ways to connect. And I always say, when you step back from that, you can't replace that. You can't buy that. People who are passionate about what they do bring that to work every day. And so I'm thankful that you all are at Outreach. They're always like, what else can we do? How else can we connect? I'm like, I love that, because sometimes you can get disillusioned, you can get, sidetracked, and it's like, this community, I'm giving up. But they came in and they're like, look, this is our community. What else can we do? And that passion, I love. So come and see us at Outreach. You can book an appointment, 414-727-6320. And you can come in, get screened, meet the residents. We've got a couple of events scheduled throughout the year so you can meet them. But they're personable, they're energetic, and they are just good. They're just good and good human beings. So I absolutely love that. In the program, you all are fully fledged doctors. So I love to say Dr. Price, right? Dr. Price, MD. Tell me, when you get a new patient, right? And this is one thing I always like to ask the residents. You get a new patient. What are you looking for just in that initial visit? Like, I show up, I'm like, I'm here. What's next? What's next?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So when I get a new patient, the first thing that I'm trying to do, or I'm thinking about, is I need to get you to come back. So, in the medical field, we call that building rapport. So we're trying our best to, get to know you and for you to get to know us. And, in that, I always say that in the first 5 minutes, people kind of get an impression of who you are, and they've made up their mind if they're going to see you again. So I think, that's very important, just to build that kind of rapport with patients and form those relationships where patients are going to want to come back and see you, and then that building that rapport is super important, because it then fosters trust within your patients. And when patients trust you, they're more likely to tell you things, and then you can uncover issues and then, give better health care to your patients.
Which I absolutely love. I think the theme that I keep bringing up when we have residents on the show is that the truth and the trust is important. Your doctor knows if you've been eating right. Your doctor knows if you've been drinking water. That's the one they always give me. They're like, now, Ebony, are you hydrating? I'm like, yeah, because I drank water last night and this morning. And they're like, girl, we can see that your skin, that you're not hydrated, right? So telling the truth, keeping those notes. And that's why I wanted you all in Milwaukee to go get your notepad because I want to explore maybe the top 2 or 3 screenings that people need to be paying attention to. And then Milwaukee, I want you to take time to write down those symptoms, those conditions that you may be having, because all of those matter when you go in to get that screening. So, Dr. Price, if I only could do 2 or 3 screenings, what would those 2 or 3 screenings be that you'd be like, listen, I'm not arguing with you about this. These are what you need to do. What are those 2 or 3 things?
So that's a very good question that I think is to be honest and able to be able to answer that question, I really have to think about the individual.
Okay.
Because not every single patient that I see will require the same screenings. However, if I was just to take you, Ebony, without even knowing your age,
just between 15 and 50, between 15 and 50.
I love that. But for sure, I would say I would go with screening your A1C for diabetes. So your blood sugar, that's probably the first thing that I would say. I think I would want to start with. And then, routinely all patients get screened for high blood pressure when they come to see us. But I think another thing for you being, someone who identifies as female with reproductive organs, I would probably say let's get a pap smear if we haven't gotten one in the past 3 years.
Okay. So those top 3. So that's going to give you what my blood sugar is doing. What are some of the implications of, diabetes? And this is why I said, Milwaukee, I want you to write down some of those symptoms. So if I'm doing my homework right, tingling in the feet can be an issue that happens with diabetes that's advancing. So what does that look like?
Yeah. So, the symptoms of diabetes are like on a very broad spectrum. I always tell people, and it can be from having no symptoms to just like florid, being symptomatic. And again, it all just depends on that, the level of the glucose, 1, and 2, how long you've been sitting around with that elevated glucose. So those are all things that we have to consider. And, I've had patients who've come to see me and they feel fine. They have nothing. And then I do their A1C or I check their blood sugar and it's through the roof. So, it's one of those things that's very hard to really put on paper and say, this is what we're looking for. And then just recently, just last week, actually, I had a patient that came in who was drinking water more than he should be drinking and then waking up all hours of the night to pee a lot, and these are all classic symptoms of you just having high blood sugar and having high blood sugar for a very long time, right? And those are usually what we see. And then in the same breath, he was telling me about those, as you mentioned, numbness and tingling too. So it gives me an idea that he's been sitting high for a very long time. Right. So it's very important. That's why we always say, at least yearly, if you don't have any issues, just see your doctor so that we can do those screening, just so that we can know, what's going on in your body. Because like I said, some people may have no symptoms and I don't want you to come to me when it's already too late.
Right. So just do it. Just put it on the calendar. If you call today, 414-727-6320, I always have to do it on the phone because I'm visual. You can get an appointment as early as next week, right? So just take a moment, take a beat, do it this morning before you head out the door to go to work. Do it. It looks like we have a caller greeting, and for you, I'm gonna say welcome back. Welcome back to Community
Thank
Heartbeat.
you. You're such a sweetheart. Thank you, and please forgive me for double scooping. But yeah, Ebony, Tyrone Debbie speaking again, and
Get
good
a little
morning,
bit
doctor.
closer to your phone, a little bit.
Am I?
There we go. Gotcha.
Okay. Yes. Good morning. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning.
Yes, Tyrone Debbie speaking to you. I have a question for you, and I appreciate your professionalism and your sincerity and your honesty in your profession, and we welcome you to Milwaukee and the community. So hope to meet you soon on wonderful terms. But my course, a couple different things. The diabetes, the lymphomas, and the different blood diseases and cancers, run pretty heavy with us, And
Mm-hmm.
the red wine is a good filter, but we need to do good blood filtering. But I read an article about the young man, his umbilical cord. He was 5 years younger than his brother. I don't have it in front of me, but just off the top of my head, his umbilical cord saved his brother's life, who had sickle cell anemia. So
Okay.
my question to you would be that do you see in your future studies of the placenta, the umbilical cord, and even blood, bone and blood marrows being used to help us filter our own blood? Can we, instead of throwing those things away, the umbilical cord and the placenta and things like that, can we filter our own blood through things like that if we store that somewhere in plastic instead of throwing it away? And I'll listen to you over the air then. Thank you very much for your professionalism. Thank you.
Okay. Wow. That's
He just jumped right into
uh,
stem cell research and
yeah.
storage and the whole.
It's a really advanced question, and I will make the disclaimer that I'm no expert in the field of sickle cell. I'm not a hematologist, but I can definitely speak that there's research that's going on. Research is always going on in the field of medicine, and I know that they're definitely looking into ways to see how we can combat this disease, and even possibly a cure in future. So I'm never going to say never to certain things, but at the same time, I really can't speak about the research that's happening right now because like I said, I'm not an expert in that field, but who knows, further down the line, those things might become a possibility. But yeah, that's a very good,
So for now,
thought.
all we have is the wine. Is that what I heard? We filter in the red.
Oh
red.
my God.
So, question, Doc, I have a quick question for you. Now, I heard you say that it was a young man that had came in that was drinking a lot of water at nighttime, so he would get up to use the restroom. Is that signs of diabetes or high blood pressure?
So, I mean, it could be diabetes, but it could be other things as well.
Okay.
I know for in his case because I did test his blood sugar that it was through the roof.
Oh,
So that's why I could put them together.
so high blood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, just before we introduce our CEO, we got her in the studio. Before we go there, is there a such thing as too much water? You can drink too much water,
'Cause
right?
I
I'm
drink-
seeing these
man,
people
I
on the
drink a lot
Instas,
of
and they're
water.
like, "I drink 7 gallons of water
Yeah,
a
I
day."
drink
I'm
a
like,
lot of water.
"Sir, you are not healthy."
Yeah. So unfortunately there's a saying in Jamaica that we say too much of one thing not good for you.
Yeah.
And it really just means that too much of anything is not good for you. So yeah, there's a limit on the things that we should ingest, including water.
So what's the limit? Like, how would you know it's too much water? Because for me, um, I used to drink a lot of sodas, but I don't drink sodas anymore. So all I drink is water.
Mhm.
So I'm constantly like scarfing down water. I'm drinking. Like now, I got
He got
like
he
3
got a
bottles here.
situation over there.
Man, I
right?
go hard with the
Yeah,
water.
I think we would have to like do like a measurement. So I would have to like have you record to see how much water you're actually drinking.
Okay.
And then like how is it affecting you?
Okay.
Right? So it would have to be like a whole conversation. People I like to think of doctors as being like little FBI investigators with our patients. So it's you can tell me that you drink too much water, and then when I actually see you, you're only like drinking like probably 2 liters, right? That's not a lot in my eyes.
Okay.
So it's really more about like how much really are you drinking. It would be great to have like an exact number
Right.
for the day, and then how is it affecting you? What symptoms are you having as a result of it?
Last question, because I know you want to move on to the show.
You're good.
But
That's why we're here. That's
When
why
we're
we're-
drinking too much water, would the water sit on your joints?
I've never heard of that before.
See, that water on your knees, they just
No,
made that.
you-
But it causes your body not to be able to absorb the nutrients. Am I right?
Yeah,
in that?
because and especially if you think about it, when you're drinking water, it gets absorbed into your blood,
Right.
and then it gets filtered by your kidneys, and then you
Right.
just start peeing.
Right.
So it sets you up for losing electrolytes,
Oh,
right?
okay,
And that's
okay.
not great. I don't
Okay.
want that to happen to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
And we cannot survive on Gatorade alone. We cannot.
Pedialyte.
Pedialyte, right? But no, those are good questions, and I'm positive somebody out there listening. So if you got your notebook, you know that you've got to come in for the A1C. You got to come in for the cervical cancer, the breast cancer, the women's health screenings if you are a woman and have those reproductive organs. I like the way you said that. And just make sure that you're tracking what symptoms you have, even if you think they're really, really small. I've noticed lately my eye is really jittery. So I don't know if that's from a computer screen looking, but write it down. Those little things that you think might not be really important when you put it in front of your physician could say something different. So love that, love that, love that. In the studio, we have our guest, our second guest, Julia Harris Robinson, president and CEO of Outreach Community Health Centers. And Julia, it's gonna be a great year. We're locking in. We've got these fabulous residents. Let me scroll up. Let me read you Julia Harris Robinson's bio, because again, this should be like the Amazing Women show, right? We gonna figure out a name. Julia has dedicated over 35 years to serving the underinsured and the uninsured population in the Milwaukee Metro and southeastern Wisconsin areas. Her commitment to federally qualified health centers spans more than 25 years, demonstrating her deep understanding of the community's needs and the imperative to address social determinants of health. Equipped with the CPA, Certified Public Accountant designation, and an MBA from Lakeland University, her expertise extends to public accounting, culminating in a rich background in the nonprofit sector, where she has dedicated 25 years of her career to community health centers, having held positions as chief financial officer across various community health centers. Now, that's the official bio. She is the visionary, y'all. That's what she is, of outreach. So she has led us through an amazing year in 2024, and we are all geared up and strapped in for year 2025. So welcome to Community Heartbeat, Julia Harris.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Milwaukee, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So, Julia, tell us, in this vision of bringing these doctors to outreach, where did that even come from? What was the inspiration for putting these 14 residents per year? So right now we've got 28 in the community.
So it came through Dr. Garrison had a vision, and she's been very, very adamant that community health centers is the way to put those doctors in the community where the people look like them. And so that's been very important to her. And so she approached me about outreach housing some of the residents, and we just took it from there. And here we are.
I'm telling y'all, they are amazing. Every time I see them or get to be at an event with them, the energy is there, the passion is there. And I keep saying that because I've seen the opposite, right? So I know how valuable that is. Julia, what brought you into the community health center space? How did you get to doing this work?
Well, I actually came in as a consultant. I was very, very young. It was in 1995.
You still look. She looked at me.
Probably
you are
5 years old.
Very young.
So I came in, and from there I was hooked. I could not believe the people we're servicing, people that look like me, doctors that look like me. And I was just proud of that. And I wanted to make sure we continue that and we do everything we can to grow that. That's important because a lot of times we don't see the doctors that look like us. And as we just discussed sickle cell, that's one of the things that other doctors might not know about because they're not aware of what we're suffering from when we're experiencing that. So we want to make sure that the doctors know what we're going through.
And when we come back, we'll talk about how we get to total community health. We'll talk about how your background positions you to really do this work and make sure that it's sustainable for the long term. And then we'll talk about what women specifically, since this is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month, the screenings that we need to be making sure that we're putting on our checklist. Again, you can follow us online, Facebook, WNOV 860. You can follow the show, Community Heartbeat Radio Show, on Instagram. I am Ebony Solly here with Julia Harris Robinson and Sushanya Price, Dr.
Yeah.
Price. We will be right back.
Nick Avani's is the only place you need to shop for fashionable menswear inside the Mayfair Mall. Nick Avani's is having a holiday blowout sale. All suits, sport coats, and blazers, hats, and shoes. Everything in the store is 50% off. Now, there are some exclusions. Okay, let me run that by you again. Nick Avani's is having a holiday blowout sale on all suits, sport coats, blazers, hats, shoes. Everything in the store is 50% off. There are some exclusions. So what are you waiting for? Get on down to Nick Avani today. Oh, and by the way, they still have the $100 hookup. Men 50 plus, the hookup is just $125. Nick Avani's, located in the Mayfair Mall.
The Milwaukee Black Excellence Awards is celebrating 4 decades of excellence. This year, honoring phenomenal women, Friday, February 28th at the Baird Center at 6 p.m. This year's keynote speaker is Gabrielle Finley Hazel, president of Aurora Healthcare, and the 2025 honorees include Women in Law, Lieutenant Jasmine Arce and Darlene Austin. Women in the medical field, Dr. Dora Clayton Jones and Julia Harris Robinson. Women in ministry, Reverend Dr. Eleanor Cardenas and Reverend Joy L. Galman. Women in military, Anna Mae Robinson, Sergeant Major Tanya Sloan, and Dr. Josie Veal, Second Lieutenant. For ticket information, call Miss Gilbert at 262-283-8383. Again, that's 262-283-8383.
The passing of a loved one is emotional enough without adding the stress of funeral arrangements. By pre-planning, you receive the desires of your heart while taking away the burden from your family. It also saves you money, providing the dignity and respect your memory deserves. And there are times when life ends unexpectedly. Please know that the New Pitts Mortuary is here to lend a helping, caring hand anytime, day or night. We are the New Pitts Mortuary.
Welcome back. Community Heartbeat, presented by Outreach Community Health Centers. Not just a show, this is a movement dedicated to bringing our community together through wellness, keeping your heart pumping with positivity. I promised you that this show will be a place where we will talk about health and wellness, our programming, our upcoming events, feature health screenings, and so much more. In the studio today, President and CEO Julia Harris Robinson, and our family medicine resident, Sushania Price, Dr. Price. I just like saying that, Dr. Price. One of 28 residents that are at Outreach Community Health Centers providing primary health care, screenings, the whole nine, right? So before the break, we were talking about how this program came to be and what the inspiration was behind that. If you were listening through the last break, though, you heard that on February 28th, Julia Harris Robinson will be awarded one of the Black Excellence Awards at the 40th Annual Black Excellence Award Gala, right? Give it up, give it up, give it up. So it's that dedication to community. So I talked about how the physicians are dedicated. We got into a little bit about you. You got the CPA, the MBA, all of that. How does that set you up for success leading Outreach Community Health Centers?
I think one of the strongest attributes I have is the business acumen that I have. Um, I can kind of visualize things and get an idea of how and where we need to go and where we need to be. I'm positioning outreach to expand, to grow, for opportunities for employment. We've gone from about 130 employees up to 175 employees.
That's why I
We
can't get a
currently
parking
still
spot
have
now.
at least 20 openings available. And with that being said, we are expanding. We're looking forward to adding at least 10 more residents in July of this year. And with
Yeah.
we are looking forward to servicing Milwaukee in a great way. We have availability for same day appointments, walk in appointments. Call us. You can get in and get seen today. That is very important because we don't want you to go the whole, especially since it's a Friday, go the whole
Mm-hmm.
weekend not
Mm-hmm.
feeling well. Just come on in, call us.
Call us 414-727-6320 is the number. Get checked out. So if you take nothing else away from this show, there can be fear sometimes around making that first appointment. You don't want to share everything, but outreach has made this really smooth for you to be able to write those symptoms down, write down what you're struggling with, get that appointment, and just go. You will be so surprised at how the screenings, many of them are painless, right? I've seen them check the A1C, and it's like it's a painless thing. When the residents come out and do blood pressure checks, sometimes you just need to know, right? You just need to know. And these things, they compound. So I've given the example of like a Jamie Foxx, right? Jamie Foxx had a stroke just out of nowhere and thought it was a headache. So these small little things can add up, and all you really have to do is walk through the door. So make the appointment 414-727-6320. So you've got it sewn up with the growth piece. We've got the availability of appointments. If you are looking for a job, so you mentioned the employment piece, website ochc-milw.org is where you can go to check to see if you fit with one of those jobs that's available. So you two, tell me this. What's on the horizon for 2025? What are y'all planning for outreach community health centers in this beautiful year? Thrive in 2025. What do you guys think?
Well, we have lots of social events that we're doing to market and to make sure people are aware of who Outreach Community Health Center is. We want to make sure that we're taking care of the healthcare of Milwaukee. So we are healthcare with the heart. We're also focusing on making sure that no one goes without healthcare. That is very important to Outreach Community Health Center, as well as the fact that many people don't know all the different services that are offered at Outreach Community Health Center. We have a very huge community service program, which we partner with Milwaukee County, where we provide TCM, CSP, CCS. I know we use a lot of acronyms in FQHC.
What does that mean, Julia? Tell us what that means.
So they're just different level of Milwaukee County programs where you can get assistance. And so it goes through the 211 program, the Impact 211. And so patients or clients that are established through the program will come into one of our programs through a crisis care management, where a case manager will assess their situation, and then we determine what level of need that they have, and we place them in one of our three programs, TCM being the lowest level, CCS being the next level, and CSP being the more advanced need.
So it's that understanding that it's not just the healthcare part, right? Like sometimes those health conditions are compounded because you don't have a place to sleep. And then you have high blood pressure because the place you're in is not really habitable. And you're saying y'all take care of everything. Y'all, us, we together. Outreach takes care of all of that.
That is correct. So we once you're assigned to one of our programs, you would get a case manager. The case manager would work with you and to help you with all of those needs, whether it's helping you with your medication, helping take you to the grocery store, getting you situated in housing, helping you to find a job, whatever it is. Our case managers are going to help you with those those situations. Not only that, we have a huge unhoused
Huge.
program. We have we have a lot of funding to where we help assist clients to get housing. Once we get them housing, we will pay the rent for 18 to 24 months.
Say that again. Is this thing on? Are you paying the rent?
Yes, we will pay their rent. They're assigned a case manager. That case manager will work with them to make sure that they get stabilized and get a job so that they can pay the rent after that time period is up. Because our goal is that they do not repeat homelessness.
Mm-hmm. And that's such a key piece. Let me ask you this, Dr. Price, in terms of like the unhoused community, are there some, there's really no single place that they'll be over multiple nights. So that can cause all kinds of issues with taking medication regularly. If we think of something as small as you have a medication that needs to be refrigerated, you don't have a refrigerator, right? Are there some conditions that become more unmanageable if you don't have that regular housing that maybe we can zoom in on a little bit?
Yeah. You know, in primary care, we talk about the social determinants of health. And, housing insecurity is one of those social determinants of health. And, one of the things that we try to address when we ever see patients is all of those social issues. And, a lot of people don't realize, but your primary care doctor is a great resource. As Julia mentioned, outreach has so many resources. That was one of my I'm just so amazed by that. And I love that, that's available to our patients. Every time I talk to a patient and I say, okay, you're not taking your medication. Why is that? And a lot of times people think, oh, they're not taking their medication because they don't want to.
Right.
No, it's
So
because
many
they don't
reasons.
have the resources that they need. And as you mentioned, if someone has housing security and they're moving from place to place, they don't have a refrigerator for their medication. That's a reason to why they're not taking their medication. And, it's up to us, the investigators, as I mentioned, to uncover these reasons, and then refer our patients appropriately to the resource that they can get to help them to better manage, all of these social determinants of health.
Yeah, it's a system. And so I think together when we come and we look at, nobody chooses to be unhoused. And I think the reality for me with coming to work at Outreach is sometimes you're leaving a situation that, if you can imagine, we watch on the news, we have refugees moving from one place to one place. There is a decision that you make that I would rather be here than in this current situation. And I think sometimes we overlook that when it comes to the unhoused population is things have to be pretty bad if you say, I'm willing to sleep on the street in frigid temperatures rather than to be in this particular situation. Or I've made some decisions that financially I'm not able to stay in this home. So nobody goes into it and says, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. So I think it's up to all of us to take our place and our piece of that puzzle to make it better. So Julia, with the vision of how are we going to serve these? Is it in the schools? Is it with the mobile health unit? Is it giving this information on programs like these? And then with Dr. Price, it's the when you come in, I want to get to know you. It's the personable care. Like I know you're probably not going to tell me everything in the first visit, but I'm here to build that trust. And I think all of that is extremely important. There are a couple events that are coming up with Outreach that I want to share. On Monday, we have a workshop which is dedicated to making those health plans that you have known to your family. We call it advanced directives. So many times we know what we would want if we're not able to speak and move, but we haven't shared that. What happens if you, God forbid, are in a fire, wildfire, moving from here to there? Does your family know what you want? And we have a workshop on Monday from noon to 2. You can find out more about that on our website, ochc-milw.org. To find out, click on the upcoming events. There's also COVID and flu vaccination clinics going on. Listen, I have implored some of our radio production folk. Not gonna call anybody out right out. Not gonna call anybody out,
Nope.
but getting
Nope.
these vaccinations is all of us. Y'all, I don't want to have to go back in the house. I don't want to have to go back in the house, but we will if we don't get vaccinated. I'm working on you. The Lord is working on
Nope.
you.
He already told me. He already spoke to me.
So we have COVID and flu vaccinations available at the clinic. And what I love is there are some incentives depending on when you come in for those vaccinations. Dr. Price, do y'all give vaccinations at the residency clinic?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, we do.
okay. And y'all make it painless because I might be a little scared. I might be a little.
We'll make it painless for you.
Okay, thank you. So that's going on. Again, you can see the dates and times available on the website. February 28th, we are honoring our president and CEO, Julia Harris Robinson, at the 40th annual Black Excellence Award. Just being Black Excellence. Black Excellence. We love to see it. This year's theme is honoring phenomenal women. So again, we thank you for your leadership and really putting your heart into everything that you do at Outreach. Definitely appreciate it. And then we've already got our first screening event happening. So we are at the Gathering this year on Saturday, March 15th, 2025 at Potawatomi Casino and Hotel. So make sure you come out and see us. You can meet some of the residents. They'll be there, get some free swag, and just learn about how to keep your body healthy. And then save the date, Saturday, August 9th. Community Health and Resource Fair is back, y'all. So if you are looking to sponsor, to donate, to come out and have a good time, just go on and mark your calendar now before you get busy. Saturday, August 9th from 10 to 3. All that information is on our site. Again, if you're looking for employment, take a look at the website. But as we get ready to close out, let me reiterate that January is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. Mm-hmm. What is cervical cancer, Dr. Price? And what, like, I log in and I'm like, what is this? So what is cervical cancer at its very base?
Yeah. So cervical cancer is, in a sense, cancer of the cervix. And, for our listeners out there, the cervix is just the part that connects the vagina in a woman to the uterus. And, cervical cancer is largely caused by a virus called HPV virus. And usually, the virus is transmitted through sexual contact. And usually in your younger years, you're able to clear the virus from your body. But, unfortunately, as we get older and as we age, the immune system, it doesn't work as great as it used to when we were younger. And so oftentimes the virus can stay within our body, and it usually affects, one of the places it usually affects is the cervix. And that can lead to cancer later on in life. Thankfully, we have a vaccine for the HPV virus that I really encourage all, my patients who are eligible to receive to get that. We do have that in our clinic that we do administer to patients. So that's one way that we can combat this virus and prevent cervical cancer. The other way that we do, which I mentioned earlier, is by screening. And that's by getting your pap smears
pap smear done. Gotta get it in. So listen, again, ladies, new year, new us. We're doing all the things. In order for us to do all the things, we have to be healthy. So schedule your pap smear, 414-727-6320. Get those screenings in. HPV vaccinations. Does Outreach do those vaccinations?
Yes.
Okay. So
yes,
listen,
we do.
covered. The things are covered. One piece that I thought was really interesting, of course, I'm your big sister, little sister, homegirl, however we connect. Doing the research in cervical cancer, Henrietta Lacks was the first name that popped up. So if you've known the story of Henrietta Lacks, she went in for treatment for pain in her stomach area is what I'll say, because that's how she presented. Later found out that was one of the first instances of cervical cancer in the community. Her cells were then taken for study. Those cells literally have touched every single continent, which is why they call them the immortal cells. So much so that you can actually buy them on Amazon. Like,
Oh,
that's crazy to
I
me.
didn't know
It's
that.
crazy to me in studies. So I like to say that Henrietta Lacks, through her life, has touched every single physician on the planet, and that's pretty impactful. Now, I'm not gonna align our physicians with those who treated Henrietta Lacks, but I will say they're pretty darn impressive too. And they've done the study and they know these conditions that may affect those in our community disproportionately is what I'll say. I won't say more. I'll say disproportionately. Um, so tell me, in addition to the pap smear, Dr. Price, what other conditions might be readily apparent that we should be paying attention to? I know that's a loaded question. That's totally off script. She's probably gonna be like, what did you just ask me? But are there other tests that we should also have in our arsenal when we're coming in for those first couple of meetings? So cervical cancer, pap smear, A1C, anything else? Like if you had to add a fourth,
Oh, okay.
if you had to add a fourth test, what would the fourth test
I
be?
probably would throw on your lipid panel. So basically looking for your cholesterol as
Okay.
well, just to see where those at. Because, having, high cholesterol plus hypertension and diabetes
It's all of
is
that,
just
all
a
the good food
recipe
and the nice. Just
for,
like,
affecting your heart and your brain, leading to stroke. So yeah, I would throw that on.
it's all important. So knowing these screenings are impacting our community, knowing that we're all responsible for the health of our community. Julia Harris Robinson, tell me 20 years from now, what do you want the legacy of health from outreach in this community to be?
Well, again, I will repeat that my focus is to make sure that we all have access to health care. And I think back to what Dr. Martin Luther King said,
Yes. Yes.
the
Yes.
inequality
It's
in healthcare. And he found that that was a huge issue for our community. And he focused on it. I think Obama focused on it in his term. And so we all need to make sure that everyone has the quality access to care. And that's why outreach is here, to make sure that everyone has access to quality health care. Not only health care, we have medical, we have dental. Our dental is in over 100 schools in the city of Milwaukee trying to prevent those cavities.
Listen, that's half the battle right there, just getting the cavities treated, right? Or
Yes.
prevention of cavities.
Not only that, we also have a dental mobile van that's out in the community. We partner with Ascension Dental on our dental program. We also have a mobile medical van that we take out in the community. Our goal on the mobile medical van is to be out there in the streets to be able to give health care to the homeless, people that are out there on the street, providing street medicine so that we can help with those that may not hear us right now on this radio station in order for them to get in and get an appointment. But if we can get out there in the community and reach them by finding them out there, then that's another goal that we have, is to make sure that we can access those people who may not necessarily have transportation to get to us.
It's all, and it's going to take all of us. So if you haven't been pushed to get connected yet, this is your push. Get connected. Follow us on all your social media platforms to find out where we'll be, what our initiatives will be, where you can come out and meet us and get screened. So maybe the first visit that you make in the clinic setting makes you nervous. Come out and meet us at an event. Get some of those preliminary screenings by our residents, and then meet them. Meet them, talk to them. I will say Dr. Price has my undying loyalty, because as I opened the show, she was just very calm and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go over here right now and save a life. I'm like, okay, just no big deal. Just, doing what you do. So if that's intimidating to go into the doctor, come and meet us at an event. Come and meet the residents, and then you'll see what I mean by they just get it and they have a passion for medicine.
Ebony, I don't want to forget about our pharmacy.
Please don't forget about the pharmacy. Talk to us about the pharmacy.
Well, I want to make sure everyone knows a lot of Walgreens are closing around the community.
Yes.
And Outreach has a full pharmacy where you can come in and get your prescriptions filled. So don't forget about us for prescriptions as well. Not only that, I want to make sure There's a lot of mental health going on in our community. Please don't forget, prioritize your mental health. Everyone is experiencing some type of mental health, whether it be mild or extreme. We need to make sure that we are focusing on our mental health.
That's it. That's it. Listen, put that in your New Year's resolution, right? Mental health, that wholeness, that wellness. So
I
we
will
got
say that's one of the screenings that we also do.
Amen.
Yeah.
Listen, amen. Amen. And listen, therapy too. We have therapists on deck. So talk to us a little bit about the behavioral health piece. That's the last component. Dental, primary care. We got the pharmacy. We got the community service. And then talk to me about the behavioral health piece.
Well, I think outreach is really trying to focus on making sure that we look at all aspects of health, whether it be your mental, medical, dental. We're looking at all of that. We have become a patient-centered medical home, which means that we have a lot of different people who will be all involved in your care, so that we can integrate you between the medical and the behavioral health seamlessly. So if you have a medical problem, you're in seeing the medical doctor, she finds out that you might have a mental health issue that needs to be addressed. She's going to forward you to our psychiatrist or a therapist so that you can talk to someone else regarding whatever else it is that you need help with. But making sure that we can take care of the whole body, whole mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, that's what. Listen, and if the pandemic taught us anything, that's when I got me a therapist, because I was like, look at here, all this stress can't be good for my heart, my soul, my spirit. So, therapy is in. We're doing that. We're taking care of our mental health, and then we're adding that wellness component. So, outreach has got you covered. Give us a call, 414-727-6320. In the studio, we have been chatting with President and CEO Julia Harris Robinson and Dr. Sushania Price, the family medicine resident at Outreach Community Health Centers. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm excited about where we go in 2025, continuing to bring health and wellness to the community. So thank you both for appearing on the show today. Remember, you can follow us on all of your social media platforms. We have launched the new Community Heartbeat Radio Show page on Instagram, so make sure you follow that. There'll be some behind the scenes and some goodies for you, so we'll make it worth your while. Schedule your appointment, get those annual screenings, come in, meet us, become part of our family. But definitely meet me here every 2 weeks, the second and fourth Friday of the month. Community Heartbeat, presented by Outreach Community Health Centers. Not just a show, this is a movement dedicated to bringing our community together through wellness, keeping your heart pumping with positivity. Thank you again, ladies. I'm Ebony Solly. We'll see you here on the 24th, where we'll be talking cervical cancer awareness health. Thanks much. Talk to you soon.